Hey yogis, it's Larissa. We're going to talk about pose of the month, which is side plank this month. Essentially, we're going to look at power stance because that's an incredibly important piece of side plank. So really quick, we'll go over power stance. Toes up, it's going to turn your arches on line so your feet are active. Then from your arches all the way up to your inner groin, hug inward. This is going to help you stabilize. Belly, you're going to pull your hip points up in order to strengthen your low belly. It's really subtle. If you go too far, your side plank is going to feel a little strange. You're just subtly lifting your hip points up so that you can strengthen the very middle of the pose. Ribs gently pull down towards hip points. Again, too far, it's not going to be helpful. It's just really, really subtle right here. Upper arm bones up, then back. What we're going to do with arms is going to be the biggest difference from power stance. The center of your body is going to be really solid like this. The squeeze in of your legs is incredibly important. A really subtle lift of your hip points is incredibly important. And we'll spend a little bit of time on upper arm bones. So essentially, this is power stance. This is side plank. It's not a whole lot of difference. What happens though a lot of times in side plank is gravity is now pulling at a different part of your body. So a lot of times in side plank, this might happen. Or something like this might happen because you're trying really hard to hold yourself in space. So those are the super common things. So we're going to play a little bit with some exercises of how we can avoid those types of things happening so that your core and your spine are really safe and strong, and your shoulders as well. So really quick, we're going to do an exercise together. Reach your palms out to the side. You're going to spin your fingertips up towards the ceiling, just like you're simulating side plank. This action right here is going to be helpful just to start to strengthen your forearms. Just that action, you'll probably start to feel something happening in your forearms. And then we're going to do a little bit of what not to do and what to do, just to feel the difference. Roll the heads of your shoulders forward, so you're getting a little bit of a dome in your upper back. This is totally fine for stretching, but if you're weight bearing, you're now putting a little undue pressure on smaller muscles in your shoulders rather than using the strong muscles in your upper back. So roll shoulders forward. Now pull your upper arm bones back to open your chest and engage your upper back. So we'll do that again. Fingertips up towards the ceiling. Roll your shoulders forward, roll your upper arm bones back. One thing to note here is there's a teeny tiny bend to your elbows. We'll play a little bit with that more when we're doing weight bearing. It's harder to find when your hands are a little bit loose in the air. But that feeling of pulling your upper arm bones back, so your shoulder blades are starting to slide together, you should feel some engagement right around here, around your shoulder blades, mid to upper back. So if you're not quite feeling that, do this a couple more times and really focus on strengthening your upper back muscles and feeling something engage as you pull your upper arm bones back. So now we're going to add a little bit of weight to it. So essentially, exactly like you just did from standing, arms out to the side, upper arm bones pull back, and then you're just going to lean to one side and try to maintain that strength of your upper arm bones pulling back. We're going to lift up and place one leg out. So this is option number one. Top hand just spins open. Your knee, place it underneath your hips so that you can lift your hips a little more. Again, that teeny tiny bend of your elbow is important. If you just look at my elbow, and you can probably see it pretty well because I've got this art that you can see what's happening there. If you totally lock out your elbow, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your elbow joint and your shoulder joint itself. It's natural for your body to want to use your joints to bear weight, but we're actually looking at strengthening the muscles of your arms and upper back. So instead, put a little tiny bend in your elbow so that you can pull your upper arm bone back, keep strength in your upper back. So this is a really great option for side plank. Knee down underneath your hip so that you can really focus on the strength where you're holding your weight. Another option is your bottom leg can be straight and your top foot can be in front of your hip. This is a teeny bit more challenging. It's going to require a little bit more strength in your core, but you can actually use your heel, push down into your heel to actually lift your hips a little more. So that action right there, teeny bit more challenging, but it's still going to give you a lot of strengthening action. And then the final thing is to actually stack up in your side plank. So now we're back to that power stance position. Arches to inner groin, really need to squeeze there in order to maintain strength. You can see I'm starting to wobble as I talk. But that strengthening up the middle of your body is incredibly important. If you're starting to lose hip points and you're doming, it's going to be more challenging. Hip points towards low ribs, upper arm bones back, side plank position. Final note, before I run out of breath, looking down to the ground is a great place to be. That's going to take any pressure out of your neck. Looking straight forward is the next step. And then finally, looking up is going to challenge your balance. If it's comfortable for your neck, try all three. See what works for you. And I wouldn't recommend staying on one arm for that long. In class, we're going to switch side to side, and you'll probably notice one side is a little stronger, one side, maybe it's a little more challenging. It's 100% normal. As long as you're focusing on strengthening your core and inner legs to help support the base of your body, and then trying to avoid this action, putting undue pressure on the fronts of your shoulders, those small muscles, really focusing on upper arm bones back, upper back super strong as you're working on this pose. As always, holler if you have questions. We're happy to help.